After acquiring Baker Mayfield, the Carolina Panthers have become a legitimate contender in the NFC, and today we're gonna work to make them even better. But super quick before today's video begins, the support on the past few videos has been absolutely insane. Like, we've been easily hitting 30 likes, which I know doesn't sound like a whole lot, but for me that is a ton, and we are actually getting super close to 150 subscribers. It seems like we literally just hit 100, so it would mean a ton to me if you drop a like and drop a sub. Let's see if we can hit 20 likes on this video, and if we can, I will have a new rebuild out as soon as we hit that. There's obviously no shout out for this video today, but I guess the shout out can be to all of you guys for the support lately. But if you do want an actual shout out, comment down below either what team you want me to rebuild or what type of rebuild you want me to do, and if you do that, I'll shout you out in my video and tell people to go sub to you, and I'll sub to you and all that good stuff. And if you want to vote what team we rebuild next, on my Instagram story I host polls of the most recent suggestions, and that's how I choose if you didn't know. So go follow that, there is a link in the description. And last thing, I obviously use my custom rosters in my rebuilds, and as of the time this video is up, they should be available for download on PC only, unfortunately, but they should just be called something like Updated 22. My tag is Brandon823021. Not every rookie is complete yet, but the rosters are pretty complete. So that is enough talking, and let's get into a breakdown of this team. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Hello everyone, it is Brandon the Simp here, and today obviously we are rebuilding the Carolina Panthers with Baker Mayfield. At this point, I personally think Baker Mayfield is an underrated player. For some reason, this is my biggest pet peeve. I know this is a weird start to this video, but whenever a player gets injured, people completely forget that that player was good before. I don't know why that's a thing, but it's genuinely so annoying to me. I don't know why it annoys me so bad, but it's just the most casual thing ever. Anyways, Baker is a genuinely good quarterback. I think the Browns made a big mistake. If you think about it, they traded 3 first-round picks and Baker Mayfield for Jacoby Brissett, who is supposed to be their starter this year because Deshaun Watson is expected to get a big suspension. So as of right now, I guess Jacoby Brissett is QB1 for them. But enough about that. This isn't a Browns rebuild. This team is genuinely good. Obviously, grabbing Ikem Ekwonu with, I believe, the 4th overall pick in the draft, I thought he was one of the better tackles in a very strong tackle class. Just an absolute mauler. He's not the best pass protector in the world, but I expect him to develop that a lot. And obviously, how can you forget Christian McCaffrey? For some reason, Christian McCaffrey is still considered a top running back in the league, even though he's been injured, which by that standard of people forgetting that players exist when they're injured, he shouldn't be considered that anymore. I still think he's very good because of what he provides in the receiving game. I think that's way more valuable than just being a pure rushing running back. Very good player. They have a pretty underrated wide receiver in DJ Moore. Now, I think Carolina Panthers fans are a little high on him, but the general NFL fan base doesn't talk about him enough. He's a very good receiver, a very, very good run after catch receiver. I like him a lot. Robbie Anderson, I'll throw up the now famous Instagram comment from him about Baker Mayfield. He was just generally bad last year. He's slowly becoming one of my least favorite players in the NFL. He says a lot of dumb shit, but you know, at one point in time I thought he was super underrated and good. There is a lot to talk about with this team. Their offensive line is completely revamped, other than Taylor Moton. Obviously adding Bradley Bozeman, Austin Corbett, and now they're moving Brady Christensen inside to guard, which I think is questionable. I don't know if he'll be a great guard, but we'll have to see. But I do like Bradley Bozeman and Austin Corbett a lot, and obviously Taylor Moton is one of the better tackles in the entire NFL. They obviously also have Terrace Marshall, who was a high pick in, I believe, 2021. I think he can be very good. I do like Tommy Tremble a lot. I don't even know if he'll start this year for them, but I think he should. They paid Isaiah Thomas a lot of money for whatever reason. He's not all that good. And then over here, looking at the defense, I'm trying to get through this quicker. Brian Burns, to me at this point in time, is a touch overrated. I do think he will break out eventually. It's just last year wasn't great for him. A couple years ago, he was on the right track, but last year he was so-so. I do think he has all the physical upside in the world. He just can only rush with speed at this point, and that doesn't get you super far in the NFL. You kind of have to have a mix of speed and power, but I think he can add a little bit of power to his game this year. We'll see. Yetur Gross-Matos, I was very high on, coming out in, I believe, 2020. I expect him to break out here eventually. I forgot his first name for a reason, but Derek Brown is a good defensive tackle. Matt Ioannidis, I thought, was a sneaky signing for them. They love to play this kind of circle jerk with Washington. The Panthers don't do it so much, but Ron Rivera loves to sign his former players from the Panthers. But I just thought I would point that out because Matt Ioannidis was a former Commander. Was he ever a Commander? I guess he was only ever a football teamer and a name redacted. So their corner room is a very high upside group. They have Dante Jackson, one of the fastest players in the entire NFL. JC Horn obviously didn't play last year because I believe he tore his Achilles in like the second or third game of the year. And CJ Henderson, they stole from the Jags in return for like Dan Arnold, which I do miss the Sam Darnold to Dan Arnold connection, but I think CJ Henderson can still develop being a former first-round pick. Xavier Woods I'm very high on. I loved that signing for them a lot. Jeremy Chin is a very good safety. Another player that I think is a touch overrated, but I think he can be good. A very underrated linebacker in Shaq Thompson. He is a pretty damn good player. I'm a big Shaq Thompson fan. And the rest of their linebacking core leaves a lot to be desired. Frankie Louvu I do like, especially as a Washington State fan. And Corey Littleton has been very good in the past, just wasn't the last 2 years once he signed with the Raiders. We'll see what happens. So I know I spent a lot of time on this team, but I thought it's a very interesting team. Oh, and how could I forget? You drafted Matt Corral in the, I believe, 3rd round this year, which was a pretty good steal. Unfortunately, I don't know if he'll ever become a starter here now that they have Baker Mayfield, unless Baker Mayfield sucks. So they're like 4 deep with starting level quarterbacks now, or quarterbacks that I guess can start in a pinch with PJ Walker, Matt Corral, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. That's really interesting. But that's enough talking. I've talked way too much for this rebuild. Let's get into year number 1, and I will see you guys at the mid-season point. Okay, so Christian McCaffrey is mentoring Chuba Hubbard. That's actually pretty interesting. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard has star now. I was thinking about giving him star, but I'm kind of glad I didn't because that would have given him superstar, and I don't know if that's fair, but that's pretty cool. I'm guessing he'll be a good running back too now. All right, here at the mid-season point of year number 1, we are 4-3. Kind of weird that the Falcons are 5-1, considering I think they're one of the worst teams in the league, but either way, 4-3 is a great record. Let's see how the team is doing so far. So we're 2nd in offense, but Baker's not doing well. 11 touchdowns is good, but 10 interceptions? If you take away those 10 interceptions, everything else is good. 1,800 yards, decent. 11 touchdowns, good. 68% completion percentage, good. But the 10 interceptions are super ugly. Christian McCaffrey's doing super well. Terrace Marshall's actually our number 1 receiver. Interesting. Ike Ekwonu's doing terrible. I'm not going to go through the full stats. I just wanted to see mostly how Baker was doing. And he's not doing super well. But here we have re-signings. Ooh, so we have Dante Jackson. What did he get in real life? Okay, so he signed a 3-year, $35 million contract. We'll give him 4-year, $45. We'll see if he'll take that, and he does. Okay, cool. The next thing I need to do with my rosters is update the contract lengths and everything like that. It's just hard to do because you can't choose exact numbers for anything. So it's kind of annoying, but that's what I'll do. But we did re-sign Zane Gonzalez, and I'll re-sign Kamal Martin because he's relatively cheap. I'm starting him at middle linebacker, so we'll see how he does. I just wanted to play him there because he's relatively young. Frankie Louvu, I would re-sign him, but 4 years, $32 million, I'm good. But last thing here, we do have some upgrades. Terrace Marshall and Brian Burns, we'll just auto-use those, but those are 2 pretty big upgrades. But let's sim to the end of the year, and hopefully we finish better, and hopefully Baker finishes better. All right, here at the end of year number 1, we actually missed the playoffs, going 8-9. This division wasn't very strong, at least compared to what I think it would be in real life. I think there are potentially 3 playoff teams in here with the Bucks, Panthers, and Saints, but it looks like the Bucks were the only playoff team. But let's check the season stats as we see the midseason record for most teams. This game is weird. Baker was not great. 4,400 yards is decent, but you have to remember it's a 17-game season now. 29 touchdowns is okay, but 15 interceptions is a lot. I guess statistically he did cut those in half in the second half of the year, but still, not ideal. I thought he was better in this game. But Christian McCaffrey had 1,500 yards and 18 touchdowns, 5 yards per carry, no fumbles, had an amazing year, and Chuba Hubbard did alright, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. Terrace Marshall was a very good receiver, having 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. DJ Moore had under 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. Tommy Tremble had 700 yards and only 3 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey actually had 700 yards and 5 touchdowns. So Christian McCaffrey had what? 2,300 yards, almost 2,300 yards and 25 touchdowns. That's disgusting. Robbie Anderson had 696 yards, nice, with 7 touchdowns. So it looks like he got the most receiving touchdowns on the team. That's really weird. I definitely think I'm gonna do a playbook change for the next year. For the blocking, Ikem Ekwonu was bad, but everyone else was good. I was thinking about switching Taylor Moton and Ike Ekwonu around because I would feel much more comfortable with Taylor Moton as a left tackle rather than Ike Ekwonu, but it just seemed kind of unrealistic to me. Other than Icky though, the rest of the line was very good. In terms of defense, Shaq Thompson led the team with 111 tackles, Jeremy Chin had 97. For tackles for loss, Derek Brown had 17, Brian Burns had 10, Matt Ioannidis also had 10. And in terms of sacks, we didn't get much pressure at all this year. Brian Burns led the team with 8 sacks, Matt Ioannidis had 6, Derek Brown had 5, Yeturgos Matos had 4. And in terms of interceptions, actually, Shaq Thompson and Jeremy Chin each had 3, which is pretty good, and a number of players each had 1. So I don't know how to feel about this year. The key players to this rebuild didn't play particularly well, like Baker Mayfield, DJ Moore, Ike Ekwonu, and Brian Burns. Like, none of them played all that well. I would say the only players that did super well were Shaq Thompson, Jeremy Chin, Derek Brown did pretty well, Terrace Marshall, and Christian McCaffrey. And I guess our offensive line other than Ike Ekwonu. So, I don't know, kind of our most important players didn't really live up to the standard that they are normally at. So this is a big offseason. We're definitely looking at a playbook change for the next season. But speaking of the offseason, let's sim there and let's see what kind of upgrades we can make to this team. Okay, that is the weirdest Super Bowl I have seen in this game yet. In the Super Bowl, the Miami Dolphins take down the Chicago Bears 27-20. Miami, that's really iffy. Their team isn't bad. Their team is good other than Tua. If Tua has a breakout, I could see them in the Super Bowl. But the Bears are, like, in my opinion, the worst team in the NFL currently. Their offensive line is terrible. Justin Fields isn't going to play well because his receivers are bad other than Mooney. And obviously, like I said, the offensive line, that's just a weird Super Bowl. But anyways, let's get into re-signings. So I think the only player I'm going to re-sign here is Kenny Robinson, just to be a backup free safety so we don't have to worry about that later on. Just because he's young and he's okay. The rest of these players, I mean, most of them are depth pieces. I know they re-signed Ian Thomas in real life, but I don't really care. I'm not going to re-sign him here. And Frankie Louvu, I would re-sign him, but again, like I said earlier, he's more expensive than I would like. So let's get into free agency, and we actually don't have that much money. We only have 15.7 million. And as I was saying earlier, I need to update the contracts in my rosters because free agency in year 1 is just dead. There's nobody ever here, so I need to change that. But we can definitely find some upgrades in here. But let's see if there are any cuts we can make to free up cap space. Okay, so I think I'm gonna move Sam Darnold. I'm not gonna cut him though. I want to see if I can trade him away. The Saints want him? Okay, well they have no money. The Texans want him, but I don't know how realistic that is. Here's what I'll do. I'll take a 4th round pick. I feel like that isn't a ton for a quarterback quarterback. I know Sam Darnold isn't really worth that, but personally I don't care, and it's my rebuild. So here we're going to take a 4th round pick from the Texans for Sam Darnold to be their backup quarterback. Listen, I know that's not realistic, but I don't care. And I don't think I'm going to cut anyone else. There's nobody here that really makes sense. Maybe Robbie Anderson, but it's not the worst thing ever to keep him around. Unless... I know I kind of do this in every rebuild, but let's bring in Deontay Harris. He just develops super well for me, and I think he's a pretty underrated receiver in real life. I know I call everyone either underrated or overrated, but still. Famous Jameis is here. That's interesting, but let me look through here and find some other pieces, and I'll get back to you when I am done. All right, for year 1, we're actually going to be a little conservative. We're just going to go after Deontay Harris. There wasn't really anything else here, but typically, second free agency is where it's at. I mean, it's a million times better than the first free agency. Like I said, I need to fix my rosters. I wish it was easier to edit contracts, but you have to go and cut the players and change their ratings so they only sign to 1-year deals. It's a whole mess. I don't like it, but it's what you gotta do. So let's see if we can get Deontay Harris, and then we will get into the 2023 NFL Draft. So we do sign Deontay Harris. That's actually a pretty big move. I could see him on the Panthers, to be honest. I know it's a division rival, but I could definitely see them being interested in a player like Deontay Harris, just a smaller type of returner guy. He's only 5'6". Jesus, I thought he was like 5'8", 5'9"-ish, but is he the shortest player in the league right now? He's probably really close. But yeah, we're going to cut Robbie Anderson because, like I said, he's not my favorite player, and that's a nice $9 million to have, and it will give Terrace Marshall more snaps. I just kind of want an excuse to cut him, but, you know, let's not talk about that. But let's get into the 2023 NFL Draft, and let's make this team even better. All right, here in the 2023 NFL Draft, the New York Jets actually have the number 1 overall pick. We have number 10, so that's honestly a pretty decent pick considering we were 8 and 9, like we were a borderline playoff team. I believe in the last rebuild I did, in the 0 overall rebuild, which if you haven't seen already, you should go watch after this video. It'll probably be in the end cards. But I believe we had the same pick going like 6 and 11 or 5 and 12 or something, so it's interesting how different it can be at times. But here, I definitely think I'm going to look for a linebacker. We lost Frankie Louvu, and even before we lost him, I mean, it was a position to upgrade. So we'll look for a good linebacker here, and I'll let you guys know once I find one. All right, unfortunately, there aren't many good linebackers here, but the best looking one is Dion Morris. Now, I would definitely not do this in real life. I just wouldn't draft a linebacker top 10 because I think it's the least valuable position in the NFL. But either way, Dion Morris looks like a good player. He is 6'2", 246 pounds, only 22 years old, out of Oklahoma. Ran a 4.53 at the combine, which is pretty damn good for a linebacker. Put up 27 reps on the bench, which is, again, good for a player that is that fast, I guess. But the only things I know about him are he has B play rec, B tackle, A hit power, which is, I mean, hit power's whatever, and A impact block. So he looks like a pretty good player. I'm not really sure though, but let's take him. And he does have hidden. He has 91 speed, 88 excel, 80 strength. That is an athletic freak. Okay, this is one of the craziest players I have ever seen. So we have Colby Allman here. He is a 5'11 linebacker. He's 237 pounds, which is a little bigger than I would expect him to be at 5'11". He is only 21 years old. He has B zone coverage, which is very nice. I want you in your head or down in the comments, because comments help me out a ton, to guess what his speed is going to be. I'll give you a quick few seconds. Okay, he ran a 4.42 at the combine, ran a 4.35 at his pro day as a linebacker. That's like some receiver speed. That's like some Montez Sweat shit. That's crazy, bro. And he also put up 25 reps on the bench, so it's not like he's sacrificing his size for all that speed. He is strong too. He also had the second highest vertical jump for linebackers, or middle linebackers at least. The best broad jump, 5th in 3 cone, and 1st in 20-yard shuttle. This dude is a freak. And not to mention, he also has B awareness, like I said, B zone. B awareness is like the biggest indicator of a good overall, just good awareness in general, not just B, but you know what I mean. Good awareness and play rec are the best indicators of overall typically. Not necessarily dev trait all the time, but let's take him. He is insane, and of course he has hidden dev. Unfortunately, he only has the same speed as the last player. That doesn't make much sense. So he was like a full 0.1 faster in the 40-yard dash, but he has the same speed. And he had less reps, but he has more strength than the last guy. That's kind of weird, but either way, Colby Allman is a very good player, and I definitely won't complain. This is a completely revamped linebacker core. And with that, that's going to be my mic drop. Let's sim to the end of the draft. I don't really care, dude. Let's just see what the CPU can do. All right, here is a recap of the draft, and honestly, not too bad. I'm a little disappointed with one player, but Dion Morris is a 74 overall, which is pretty good. That's honestly higher than I thought he would be. But yeah, that 91 speed, 88 excel. He has 85 hit power, 83 tackle, 83 pursuit, but he's not good in coverage, so he's just a super fast, strong linebacker. He's basically Devin White. Bad in coverage, but fast and can tackle, I guess. Colby Allman is a little disappointing. I thought he would be somewhere like a 74, and I thought the other guy would be more like a 71, 72. So I guess they're flipped, but I'll take it. But yeah, Colby Allman, just a little worse in run defense, a little better in coverage. He had B zone coverage, but that's only a 65 overall. I need to learn to not trust the coverage ratings in the draft, because I thought B would be more like 70, but I guess 65 isn't too much lower. But yeah, 81 strength, 91 speed, 88 excel is disgusting. 88 pursuit isn't bad, but the rest of his tackling isn't great. And then the CPU drafted Buck Spencer. I don't know why I had a hard time saying that name, but he was a center, and I moved him over to left tackle. He is 6'5", only 294, so he's pretty small. I just thought he would work better at tackle, especially because he is a scheme fit scheme fit at left tackle in our scheme, so that works out pretty well. He's a really good pass protector. And other than him, it took a few other decent players. Greg Hayes looks decent. Cole Beckham looks decent. I don't know if there are any other dev traits. No, there are not, unfortunately. But yeah, this was a really good draft. But with that, I will see you guys for the team breakdown going into year number 2. I'm pretty excited for this year, not gonna lie. All right, here is a look at the team going into year number 2 of the rebuild. And honestly, this is a really good team. We're up to an 82 overall. And there aren't really many holes on this team at all. I mean, even where there are holes, like just lower overall players, they're players that will develop this year. Like with linebacker, tight end, and our interior offensive line, they're players that will develop and play well. So the major changes from this year, or from last year to this year, is I did decide to swap Taylor Moton and Ike Ekwonu. I know that's not realistic, but honestly, I don't care. Taylor Moton makes much more sense as our left tackle, being the better pass protector, just would be a much better blindside tackle. I know in real life that probably wouldn't go well, but we're in Madden. And obviously we signed Deontay Harris to be our number 2 receiver. So a lot of this year is just about development. We have so many younger players with good dev traits, so this year I do expect some of them to break out and do pretty well. And here's a look at the defense, and honestly, it's pretty different, at least with the linebackers. Obviously, adding Colby Allman, okay. And Dion Morris? Dude, I'm super close with the names, but I just can't exactly remember them. But yeah, they should be pretty good linebackers here. I moved Morris out to right outside linebacker, and he went up an overall. And we did have a few dev ups on the defense. Derek Brown and Shaq Thompson went up to superstar, and I thought there was one on offense, but I guess not. But both of those are pretty huge, because those are some important parts of our defense. And then here's a look at the specialists. And I forgot to mention, this team signed Johnny Hecker, which is pretty cool. But yeah, that is a look at the team going into year number 2. Let's sim to the mid-season point, and hopefully we are doing better than last year. Alright, here at the mid-season point of year number 1, we're 3-3, but let me show you something. So I simmed the first few games slowly because we had a million scenarios like breakouts and like just player evaluation things, we started 3-0. After that, we lost to the Steelers 7-30. We got destroyed by the Steelers. We lost to the Falcons 31-38. And then we lost to the Browns 13-28. So we started off really good, obviously, going 3-0, and ever since then it has not been great. But we do have some re-signings here. Let's see who we have to re-sign. DJ Moore, definitely want to do that. I'll re-sign him for like 6 years, $109 million. That's a lot of money, but not a terrible deal for him. Brian Burns, we'll give him 6 years, also 109, so literally like identical deals. Baker, I'll re-sign him regardless, but how is he doing this year? 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 63%, not great, but also not bad enough for me to not want to re-sign him, so we'll re-sign him. 4 years, 122 million. And outside of those three, there's nobody else here I really want to re-sign. I mean, maybe some depth pieces later on. We have JJ Arcega-Whiteside, but we have some breakouts here. Oh, this is a... Oh, no, this is a breakout. Okay, I was like, is this a recap of one? I didn't start one last week. But yeah, I simmed through the first week slowly, the first 3 weeks slowly, and we were 3-0 by the time I simmed to the midseason point, and then we were 3-3 when I got there. So that's not ideal. But let's see real quick if we can hit either of those. I didn't even really pay attention to them, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, we do smoke the Bears. It seems like simming slowly is the thing to do here. Okay, well, DJ Moore doesn't get it. I think that's who that was. And JC Horn doesn't get it. Okay, well, fuck you then. But I'll sim out the rest of the year. I might go game by game if I feel like it, and I will see you guys at the end of year number 2. This has probably been my weirdest rebuild so far, but here at the end of year number 2, we finish 10-7 and we make the wild card. So let's check some of the season stats here. Obviously, I did switch the scheme. I switched to the Tampa Bay playbook. I don't know why everything is hard for me to say, but that is a very pass-heavy playbook, and I guess it shows. I mean, we only had 300 more passing yards than last year, but Baker did play a lot better this year, throwing 38 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, which still isn't great. Not a great completion percentage, but I do like the yards and touchdowns a little more. Still not where I would like him to be at, but decent. Christian McCaffrey, even though we do have a pass-heavy scheme, still had 1,100 yards, 4.4 yards per carry, and 17 rushing touchdowns. Did have 2 fumbles, but whatever. In terms of receiving, typically with this scheme, you can get like 4 players with 1,000-yard receiving seasons, but we only had 2. It was DJ Moore and Deontay Harris. DJ Moore had 1,200, almost 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. Deontay Harris had 1,100 yards, but only 5 touchdowns. Tommy Tremble actually was our third receiver with 483 yards and 9 touchdowns. And Terrace Marshall was our number 4 with 842 yards and 6 touchdowns. Unfortunately, in this scheme, it doesn't look like they pass to the running back much, which is kind of a lot of what McCaffrey is good for. But either way, he still had a pretty good rushing year. In terms of blocking, this was really fucking weird. What? So Brady Christensen led up the most sacks on our team with 10 as a left guard. That is bad. Taylor Moton only led up 8 sacks as a left tackle. Bradley Bozeman wasn't good at the center position, letting up 6 sacks. I wish I could speak. That would be really great. I would love that. And Austin Corbett let up 3 sacks, and Ike Ekwonu as a right tackle only let up 1 sack all year. That is amazing. So outside of these 2 players, our line was amazing. In terms of defense, Colby Allman led the team with 145 tackles. Dion Morris was actually in second with 107. So our 2 rookie linebackers led the team in tackles. In terms of tackles for loss, Yetur Gross-Matos had 20. Derek Brown had 17. Brian Burns had 16. Matt Ioannidis had 10. In terms of sacks, still not very good. Brian Burns had 9.5. Yetur Gross-Matos only had 2. I don't know why I'm saying the T in his name so hard, but I am. Derek Brown had 4. Matt Ioannidis had 3. Can I stop hitting fucking buttons? I need to sleep more. Jesus Christ, dude. In terms of interceptions, what? Come again? Javaris Davis led the team in interceptions. I can't stop hitting fucking buttons, dude. I'm gonna lose my mind. Javaris Davis. I don't even know who this is, I'm not gonna lie. Well, I know the name, but I don't know much about him at all. I don't know how he got on the field enough to get 4 interceptions, but whatever. Jeremy Chin was second with 3, and CJ Henderson was also tied for second with 3. Dante Jackson had 2, and Xavier Woods and Shaq Thompson each had only 1. So really bizarre year. I know I said it was weird before I saw that, but just seeing that really confirmed what I was saying. So for awards, which I realized I forgot to check last year, Joe Burrow won MVP. That's different. I don't really see that too much. Teddy Bridgewater was in at number 4. Okay. Matthew Davis, I'm guessing Seahawks rookie quarterback, was up there, but no Baker, unfortunately. For Offensive Player of the Year, surely Baker will be up here. Yeah, he was in at number 5. I'm surprised there's no Christian McCaffrey, but whatever. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Kaiser White for the Eagles. Interesting. Aiden Hutchinson was up there. That's also interesting. But no Panthers. Offensive Rookie of the Year does go to Matthew Davis. No Panthers, though. And Defensive Player of the Year, Colby Allman. I thought he would be higher, but number 4. And then Dion Morris all the way down at 9. So kind of a disappointing year, I'm not going to lie to you. I thought our offense would be better, and I thought we would get more pressure than we really had. But here we have a press weak link scenario thingy. It seems like we're decent at forcing turnovers. Let's try that. So 2+ turnovers on defense. That sounds somewhat doable. And we have some upgrades here. Let's see who this is. Shane Curtis. Okay, well, that's not super important, but whatever. But let's sim this out. Hopefully we can take down the Green Bay Packers. If not, it's not the end of the world, but you always want to win. And we do, 27-17. So let's see. We have a for the weak link thing. Did we get 2 turnovers? You got the win today, but your defense... Okay, so we didn't get the goal, but we still won, so fuck it. But here we are taking on the Green Bay Packers division rival, Minnesota Vikings. We are an 84 overall to their 83, so we technically have a better roster. However, they did have a better record. Did my game crash? I've never seen it crash right there. Hold on. And we do take down the Green Bay Packers 27-17, and now we are taking on their division rival, Minnesota Vikings. We are an 84 overall to their 83, so we do have an advantage in that sense, I guess, but they do have the better record, so they have home field advantage. But let's just sim it out. Hopefully we can take them down and move on to the conference championship. And we do. 33-25. But here we have a pretty good team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, at an 86 overall with an 88 defense. Oh, and yeah, we're the Panthers, so this is a division rival for us. It's hard for me to get into the mindset that I don't know, it's just hard for me to keep track of what team we are, all our rivals and everything, but we do have some upgrades. Deontay Harris and Derek Brown, those are actually some pretty big upgrades. Those are pretty important. Oh, and I just noticed the last game was a really, really weird score, 33-25. I wonder if that's scoreagami or something. Probably not, but that's a really weird score. But here we have playoff rivals scenario. I have no idea what the hell this is going to be. Hard hitting or chess match? I'm going to go chess match because we kind of have a younger defense. I feel like the play rec will be nice for us to have. More important than the hit power. But let's sim to the Super Bowl. Let's see if we can take down our division rivals. And we do. We are in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, I can't see what the score was because of the Pro Bowl. So let's see. Team schedule. We won. No, that's preseason. We won 38-21. We kind of smoked them. So that is very promising to see. But here we're taking on the 12-5. I almost said Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders. I almost said Oakland, and then I almost said LA. I'm a big mess right now. I'm recording this part on a different day if you couldn't tell. But either way, we have a 2 overall advantage on them. However, they do have the record advantage, but we actually have a lot of upgrades here. Dion Morris, Yeturgos Matos, Terrace Marshall, and Xavier Woods. Some pretty good players in there. But before we take on the Raiders, let's take a look at the team. So obviously we have a ton of players developing here. And when did Baker get superstar? He just got it. Okay. So Baker goes up to superstar. I forgot this is the dev up and awards week. So we're going to have a few of them here. And Dion Morris actually has superstar. Did he have that? No, he didn't. He got a dev up. Okay, that's sick, dude. So yeah, this is a very good team. We're up to an 85 overall now. And before I sim this out, I'm just going to take a quick second to say, if you have not liked the video and subscribed already, please be sure to do so, as well as turn on notifications for me because that helps me out a ton. That's probably the most helpful thing for my channel because it'll let you know whenever I upload, obviously. And comment down below what team I should do next. That is anything you can do for me is very important and I would appreciate it a ton, basically. I just wanted to take a quick second to say that. But without further ado, I guess there isn't much else I can do here, so let's just sim this out. Hopefully we can win our first Super Bowl. And whoa! We win 49-13. Oh, so yeah, clearly no force wins because that's stupid, and I don't think anyone really even does that anymore. I don't know if anyone ever did. I just see some people prove that they don't, but like I don't know if anyone does that. Either way though, we just destroyed the Raiders. Common Raiders L, unfortunately. Honestly, I kind of felt like we were gonna lose that game, but we just shit on the poor Raiders. I wanna check the stats for that game. So Baker was an absolute god, throwing 4 touchdowns, no picks. Derek Carr sucked, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey was very good, 139 yards, 7.7 yards per carry and a touchdown. Josh Jacobs was solid, 4.9 yards per carry, a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard was terrible, but he did have 2 touchdowns. Tommy Tremble and Deontay Harris were amazing. Tommy Tremble had almost 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Deontay Harris had also close to 100 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. We held Devontae Adams to only 3 catches for 61 yards, 0 touchdowns. So it looks like our defense was the real MVP. Yeah, we had three sacks. That's pretty good. Shaq Thompson and Derek Brown each had 1, then CJ Henderson and Brian Burns combined for 1. So this was quite the Super Bowl. Xavier Woods and Javaris Davis. Dude, I might start him next year. He got 4 interceptions in the regular season, if you didn't remember, and now 1 in the Super Bowl. This was definitely our year. But of course, we are going to do 1 more year. We do have some upgrades here. Let's see if we can make this team even better. Alright, here going into the offseason of year number 2, we have some re-signings. Let's see who it is. So I don't think we have any really important ones here at all. I might re-sign Michael Walker just to be a depth linebacker. I mean, that's not super important. Okay, go fuck yourself. But yeah, nobody else here I really want. I guess Steven Sullivan, because, I don't know, it was a weird pick for... Okay, well, fuck you guys then. I guess I'll just get into the offseason. Real quick, let me see if there are any cuts I can make. Shaq Thompson would save some money, but definitely not. He's been an absolute monster for us. Yeah, there's nobody here I can really cut, so whatever money we have, we'll just fill out the rest of the team, and then that's that, and then we'll get into the draft. But let me check free agency. There are some alright players here. Alright, here in free agency, I'm doing some interesting things. There weren't many players that would reasonably start for us, or that I could find a reason to play over players that were already on the team. So we're just going after some good depth pieces that I know do well in this game. The first one is Kareem Hunt. He typically plays very well in this game. I know I get him in literally every rebuild, but that's because he's good, and running back is important in this game. Not really in real life. I mean, it's important to have a good running back, but in real life, they're just kinda super easy to get, I guess. What I'm saying is in Madden, they're a lot more important than in real life. So we're going after Kareem Hunt to be our running back too, because Chuba Hubbard was not very good, and we just have money to spend, so why not spend it? You know what I mean? Up next, we're getting Clelin Ferrell. He will be our just 3rd pass rusher. And if you have seen my, I believe it was Raiders rebuild. Well, obviously it was my Raiders rebuild, but I think it was the first rebuild I did, at least since I really started trying with this channel. He was a monster. So we're gonna bring him in to be like our rotational pass rusher. Hopefully he does pretty well. And then Foster Moreau, another Raider. It's kind of funny, we're taking 2 Raiders players after we just smoked them. Coming over to the dark side, they're like, hey, that team just beat the shit out of us. Let's go play over there. So we're going to bring in Foster Moreau to be our tight end too. I don't necessarily know if he's great in this game, but I just want a good tight end too, because we're such a pass-heavy offense. I feel like that might be important. So those are the 3 players I'm getting. Let's see if they sign. Okay, sick. They all do sign. The most exciting one for me is Clelin Ferrell because of how good he is in this game a lot of the time. So those are 3 sneakily important signings. But let's sim to the draft now, and let's just really fill out this roster. Alright, here in the 2024 NFL Draft, the New York Jets have the #1 overall pick. We have the 32nd pick, so let's sim there. And honestly, this isn't really that important of a draft for us. I mean, our team is kind of already set up. This is just going to be getting some depth pieces and maybe filling out just some holes, I guess, like I do with your mother. So let me take a quick look and then I will get back with you. I think the first player I'm going to take is Robbie Wentz. Normally centers are absolutely amazing in this game, and this guy definitely looks really good. So he is 6'4", 320 pounds, only 21 years old, out of Boise State. Left-handed, just like me for real. Ran a 5.12 at the combine, 34 reps on the bench, so that's really good. A impact block, A pass block power, so he definitely looks like a more powerful player. Only C lead block and B pass block finesse, but either way he looks amazing. And he does have hidden dev. 88 strength, 82 excel. Pretty good player. He will likely start at left guard for us. And with this next pick, this is the first player I saw and he looks insane. Cam Barkley. He is 5'11", 232, only 21 years old, out of Notre Dame. Looks very similar to the linebacker we took last year. Ran a 4.41, 27 reps on the bench. Both of those are amazing. Very good three cone and 20-yard shuttle. Has A awareness, B man, B hit power, C play rec. So let's take him. And of course, because I'm a god, he does have hidden. Amazing player. I don't know what we're going to do with him, but either way, he's an amazing player. And with that, I think I'm just going to sim out the rest of the draft. There aren't that many good players left. I mean, there was like a 3rd to 4th round talent corner, but our 4th corner last year played so well that there's no real reason for me to take one. So let's just sim out the rest of the draft, and I will get back to you with the draft recap. I hate how every single time you open the draft recap online, it just crashes your game. But either way, we had a very good first 2 picks. Robbie Wentz is a 75 overall. Obviously has hidden dev like you saw earlier, but he has 88 strength, 84 run block, 84 pass block power. He looks even better than I expected. Like his stats, I don't know how he's only a base 75, I guess. Because yeah, everything is good with him except for awareness and like his finesse stats. But even then, his run block finesse is good, so I don't know. And then Cam Barkley is a 73 overall. Obviously has hidden dev like you saw earlier, but 91 speed, 91 excel, 83 pursuit, 81 tackle, 83 hit power, good awareness, decent in coverage. He's better than the last guy we took. Has 79 strength, so he's definitely a very good player. And then it picked a running back, Chris Pleasant. I don't even know if he's going to make the team, but he is a 70 overall with hidden dev. I just really don't know what to do with him. I'm almost seriously considering putting him at receiver. I don't know how well that'll go, but I really just don't have any other use for him, so we'll see. And then Troy Minor is a 68 overall, just normal dev. He'll be our 3rd tight end. The CPU didn't pick nearly as well as I did. I mean, to be fair, they had lower round picks, but still. This was a very good draft, and it was kind of unnecessary because the team is already kind of set up, but let's get into year number 3, and hopefully we can repeat as Super Bowl champions. Alright, here is a look at the team going into year number 3 of the rebuild. This is basically just a upgraded version of the team we had last year. We didn't get worse at any one position, just all the players we had at the start of last year, they're all either developed or we got a better player there. Everyone on this offense is the same except for, what's his name, Robbie Wentz? Yeah, Robbie Wentz, replacing Robbie Anderson with Robbie Wentz, the love child of Robbie Anderson and Carson Wentz. That's a weird sentence. Anyways, we also added Kareem Hunt. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore, but he will be a great running back too. Chuba Hubbard wasn't great last year, and I did decide to keep Chris Pleasant at running back because he was only like a 59 overall at receiver. I thought he would be a bit better there, but he isn't. And then here's a look at the defense. Again, it's pretty much the exact same as it was last year, just some of the players are upgraded. We did, however, add, what's his name, Cam Barkley, which is a really cool name. That's a sick name. But yeah, he'll be our, I guess, 4th linebacker, so that's a pretty damn good 4th linebacker to have. And then our 5th linebacker is going to be Kamal Martin, so we have a pretty deep linebacker group. We also added Clelin Ferrell, obviously, and then Foster Moreau on the offensive side of the ball. I'm excited to see what Clelin Ferrell does, but I'll figure the specialists out, and then I will see you guys at the end of the third and final year of the rebuild. Actually, correction, I'll see you guys at the mid-season point of the third and final year of the rebuild. You knew what I meant, though. Alright, at the mid-season point of year number 3, we are 6-1. I almost said the end of the season. I don't know what's wrong with me right now, but this team is doing absolutely amazing. Baker is having the best year of his career, 16 touchdowns, only 4 interceptions, 2,000 yards. Christian McCaffrey's going off 6.7 yards per carry. That is disgusting. Deontay Harris, DJ Moore, and Tommy Tremble are doing absolutely amazing. The offensive line, other than Ike Ekwonu, is doing very well. Brian Burns and Derek Brown are both having amazing years. Yeturgros Matos is doing well. Our Javaris Davis, once again, quick tip for you. If you are doing a franchise, get Javaris Davis apparently. I don't know why he gets so many interceptions, but Jesus, dude. Definitely get him, just to bring in as like a fourth corner. The dude is insane. But yeah, there's not really a lot to do here, other than we do have upgrades, and some actually pretty important ones. We have Brian Burns and Tommy Tremble, so we'll definitely use those. But let's sim out to the end of the year, and hopefully we are in the playoff. I don't know why we wouldn't be, but you never know. Alright, here at the end of year number 3, we're unfortunately not in the divisional round, or we unfortunately didn't get a first round bye, I should say, but we do make the playoffs at 12-5, and here for our first game we are taking on the New York Giants at 10-7 in an 81 overall. And super quick before I get into the season stats, again, just a reminder, be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below what you want to see next, and turn on notifications. I'm really trying to grow this channel, and we're getting really close to the next sub goal, 150 subs, so if we can hit that, I would appreciate that a lot. And actually, I see something really interesting. There are 2 teams with a losing record in the playoffs. The Minnesota Vikings at 7-10, and the Tennessee Titans at 8-9. Those are 2 of the worst teams I've ever seen in the playoffs. Both of them. That's weird. But Baker, it looks like he had a worse second half than first half. He did finish with 4,800 yards and 36 touchdowns, but he had 11 interceptions and only 63% completion percentage. So he seems really inconsistent. Like, he'll have a great first half and then a bad second half, or the other way around. Kind of weird. But okay, it looks like getting Kareem Hunt was a very good idea. So Christian McCaffrey had 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns, 6.1 yards per carry. Did have 2 fumbles, unfortunately, but that doesn't really matter. Kareem Hunt also had 407 yards, 4 yards per carry, and 10 touchdowns. So it looks like he stole a lot of the touchdowns. DJ Moore had 1,300 yards. He also had 111 receptions. That's a lot. And 10 touchdowns. Deontay Harris had 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns. Terrace Marshall actually finished number 3 for yards with 879 yards, 69 receptions, nice, and 8 touchdowns. Tommy Tremble had 864 yards and 7 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey again didn't have many receiving yards, but oh well. And in terms of blocking, our tackles weren't great, especially Ike Ekwonu letting up 14 sacks as a right tackle. Even as a left tackle, that's not great, but as a right tackle, that's really bad. Taylor Moton, not ideal, 11 sacks, but also not the worst. That's about the range. You shoot for a little lower than that, but 11 isn't the worst. And our interior was actually very good. Austin Corbett has been an absolute stud throughout the rebuild, and Bradley Bozeman was very good this year, and Robbie Wentz as a rookie was also very good. So our interior was good. Colby Ullman led the team in tackles with 139. That's interesting. Yeturgros Matos had 19 tackles for loss. Derek Brown had 14. Brian Burns had 13. Matt Ioannidis had 10. So a lot of tackles for loss and a lot of sacks this year, a lot more than our previous years. Brian Burns had 12.5. Let's go. Derek Brown had 9.5. Yeturgros Matos had 8.5. Outside of those, I mean, some players had some decent sack numbers. Cleveland Farrell didn't get on the field nearly as much as I thought he would as our third pass rusher, but still got a sack. And in terms of interceptions, we were very good. 4 from Dante Jackson, 3 from each Xavier Woods and CJ Henderson, 2 from Javaris Davis, of course, because he's insane in this game as like our 4th corner he got 2, and JC Horn and Jeremy Chin each had 1. So very good year. We were 4th in offense, 5th in defense, so top 5 in both. Justin Herbert actually wins MVP here. And Baker Mayfield comes in at number 10. I didn't think he would be on here. That's pretty cool. Matthew Stafford wins NFC Offensive Player of the Year. Baker comes in at number 4. Christian McCaffrey all the way down at number 9. I thought he would be like top 5 and be up there for MVP, but apparently not. Defensive Player of the Year goes to Aaron Donald. Azeez Ojulari up there, that's kind of cool. I think he'll be a really good player in the future. Cody Barton up there, that's something, but unfortunately no Panthers it looks like. That's really surprising considering the year Brian Burns and Yetur Gross-Matos had. Offensive Rookie of the Year goes to Demetri Christmas of the Giants. That's a fire name, what the hell? Why can't that be my name? I'm jealous, dude. Another Giant up there, but no Panthers. I don't think we had anyone in contention for that. And Defensive Rookie of the Year goes to Mitch Coleman of the Rams. No Panthers, unfortunately. So that was a very good year. But here, let's take on the 10-7 New York Giants. We have them in terms of record. We have them in terms of overall. So what does that mean? I'll give you a second to guess. That's right. We're probably gonna lose. So let's sim it out. Okay, I was taking a sip of my fucking coffee, but we actually smoke them 48-20. And look at this. Look at this right here. We are taking on the 7-10 Minnesota Vikings. They got through the wild card somehow. I'm actually curious. Let me check that out. Not stats and awards, goddammit. Okay, so they took down the Rams. The Rams by this point in Madden do regress a bit because they're so broke. But either way, taking down the Rams is pretty hard to do. So this is weird. This is a really weird rebuild, and it would be poetic if they take us down here, which they probably will. I don't know why I'm so pessimistic in these rebuilds. I'm terribly sorry, but also it's kind of warranted because this game sucks. But we have some upgrades here. Also, quick tip to everyone, always use the slot upgrade for cornerbacks. I think I said zone upgrade in the last rebuild. I meant slot. It upgrades the man coverage a lot. So definitely use that, and then we'll just auto upgrade Robbie Wentz. So let's take on, I almost said take down, I won't guarantee it, but let's take down the Minnesota Vikings here. Let's see if we can beat them, and we destroy them 41-14. This team is lethal, dude. What the hell? We have some upgrades in here. Cleveland Ferrell, the rookie running back who's actually developed quite a bit. Cam Barkley, that's pretty cool. So we had Robbie Wentz, the love child of Robbie Anderson and Carson Wentz. Now we have Cam Barkley, love child of Cam Newton and Saquon Barkley, maybe? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I'm on one this rebuild. I don't know what's wrong with me, but we'll upgrade those players. This has been quite the video. But here we are taking on, I almost just simmed it. Here we are taking on the 10-7 Philadelphia Eagles. We have them by 4 overall, 86 to their 82. Let's see if we can take them down. I'll sim straight to the Super Bowl. And we do. This team is amazing. I called it earlier in the rebuild. I said this team has a lot of upside in the future, and I was definitely right. This team is great. But here we are taking on the 13-4, 87 overall Kansas City Chiefs. They do have us by 1 overall. 87 to our 86. So I wouldn't be mad if we lost this one at all. I mean, we probably shouldn't win this one, but we'll see if we can take them down and win our second Super Bowl of the rebuild. Let's just sim it out. And we only lose by 2 points. That kind of stings. If we would have gotten blown out, I wouldn't have minded, but we were only 2 points away from our second Super Bowl of the rebuild. So both quarterbacks played very, very well. Patrick Mahomes passing for 422 yards and 4 touchdowns, only 2 yards away from a pretty funny number. But Baker Mayfield also did very well, 343 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions for either. Christian McCaffrey was insane. It looks like the Super Bowl is his place to play. 103 yards, 7.9 yards per carry and a touchdown. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did well, just not as well as Christian McCaffrey. Where they beat us is definitely the receiving game. A made-up player, Jason Kramer, had 139 yards and a touchdown. Travis Kelce, still with the Chiefs, had 122 yards and 2 touchdowns. Deontay Harris had 105 yards but no touchdowns. Terrace Marshall had 2 touchdowns. and 84 yards. This has to be like the best Super Bowl of all time. It was so high scoring, so much passing, only 1 sack from Chris Jones. That was the only sack of the game. That has to be like the best Super Bowl of all time. Probably the most high scoring. But let's get one final look at the team here, and if you did enjoy today's rebuild, like I've already said a few times in this video, be sure to drop a like, a sub, turn on notifications for my channel because that helps me out a ton, and comment down below what team I should rebuild next because that also helps me out more than you can imagine. And if I pick your comment, I will give you a shout out, I'll drop you a sub, and I'll tell people to sub to you in the next video. Also, I noticed Yeturgos Matos and Colby Allman went up to Superstar Dev. This was probably my favorite team so far. It seems like every rebuild I do, I have a new favorite one, so I love it. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you guys again in the next video. Goodbye.